Hello, fellow YouTubers. I'm back. Me, myself, and I, also known as Warren. I have a question to ask. Let's say you've been in a long-term relationship. Let's go with 5 or 10 years. What are some of the things that you have done to spice up your relationship, to keep things very interesting, both in and outside of the bedroom? Like a day trip when you're out with your spouse. How's the level of flirting going? Are you starting to receive each other more, that you've gotten into a longer term relationship, 5 or 10 years or more? Has that level increased or decreased? And if it has decreased, what are you doing to try to remedy that situation? Do we all just become so complacent to where we just go with the flow every single day of the week? And like, for instance, the bills have taken over a lot of relationships. It's always about the money. It's always about, the next house. I want a new home. I want this and I want that. But, I don't want to get off into talking about the material thing. Let's talk about the two individuals that are involved in that relationship, or 3 individuals, whatever you're into. There are a lot of people that are into poly relationships. There are a lot of people that are into swinging. There are a lot of people that choose to stay single, but float in and out of several relationships. And I've asked a personal friend of mine, how does she juggle her personal relationships with these men? Do they all know about each other? Now, because I'm saying all, that doesn't mean that she has 20 or that she's been physical with all of them. But are they aware of each other? And she told me no. And I wanted to find out why. Because if you are a single woman or man and you have 2 or 3 steady relationships, why not let those people be aware of they're not the only one? I think that's a bit selfish. And, we all can agree to disagree on that. What I do is not their business. But here's the thing. I think once you start into those relationships remaining to be single, but you have three available men at your beck and call, and or a female, or whatever you decide to do, they're not aware of the other. So out of those 3 to 5 guys, somebody's catching feelings already. So if he does see you out with somebody else, now that's an issue. Yeah, you can diffuse it. Well, we're not in a relationship. Let's not start all that. But I've gotten so deep in the conversation with her to find out how she has juggled it. And one thing she has told me on several occasions, guy 1 is mad because I haven't been able to see him, or guy 2, he over there tripping. I told him I was going to try to get by there, but I was busy. See, you wouldn't have all those issues if you have a stable, and she named it the stable. I didn't. If you have a stable, your stable has to be on a schedule, just like horses, just like anything that goes in a stable. There's a certain type of schedule you have to be on. So I understand she's a little younger and she's enjoying her life. She's doing whatever she wants to do. But still, it has to be more of a headache when you're upset because your favorite is upset because he hasn't seen you, and all these things, work that out. Now, for those of you that are in a committed relationship, that are, spouses, husband and wife, or husband, wife, you have a spouse. What have you done to maintain that level of excitement when it comes to your foreplay? For you, does foreplay start 20 minutes before you want to actually engage? Or does it start that morning once you are apart? What is your foreplay start? And can you agree or disagree that just because there's foreplay all day long doesn't necessarily mean that it has to end the night with full-on intimacy? Sometimes we just want to have a good time. It's foreplay. We know we're going out to dinner later. Oh, a lot of you that have kids at home, I'm sorry to hear that. Just joking. But those of you that have kids at home, that foreplay might be all you get that day. So this is what I say to couples that are involved, and I'm sure I've got some young people listening. When you are involved with that person, you guys sharing the same roof and the same bed, and you do have kids at home, my only suggestion is once you two enter into that level of foreplay for that morning that leads to the afternoon, let it just be about that. Okay. Little man and little Shaquita, they're already in school. They're checked in. They're doing good. Little Mike, he's at the sitters, the whole nine. Now, if you guys only have those 6 hours to 9 hours to just make it about each other while you're at work, have that foreplay. Send those very deep text messages. And this is an exercise I would like to challenge those of you that are in a relationship. Try to engage in lengthy, long text messages without emojis. Really get in deep with that. Just go all in, say what you're going to say to your spouses, because why? A lot of us, we don't have the opportunity to be on the phone and actually talking during the day. So have those lengthy text messages when time permits, and do it without emojis. Let that person read what's on your mind, because if I myself send you something very deep and it comes out of left field that makes you say, well, oh dang, Warren, what the world? And I get one of these thumbs up, you're really not in the conversation. So you have to think about how you receive something and how you send it back. See, this could be a little exercise you guys can go through a whole day. Before you leave in the morning or whatever your schedule is, hey, baby, today we're going to text without emojis. Let's read each other. Just try it. And no, for 1,100,999.5 of y'all say, what do I have against emojis? I have absolutely nothing against emojis. But on the flip side, when I get involved with a conversation with somebody and we're both in offices and we shouldn't talk because we may be being explicit at the time. So I don't want to be on my phone where somebody can hear me. So if I'm sending a deep message about something explicit, the last thing I want to do is see a smiley face, because I feel like it's just like, if those of you that are old enough to remember the time before emojis, if you picked up a book or a romance book, those things didn't exist. So if you engaging and you reply to me so I can actually feel your conversation. Once I read your conversation, I can get engaged with your words, because there is nothing that a picture of a fruit or devil or smiley face or whatever else you're going to send me, that's not going to get me going. What gets me going is your words, because I'm here to tell you, I am very straightforward. So, and once again, the emojis, they are fine. But I guarantee you, if the two of you engage in a deep, it can be a 5-minute exchange of text messages, and you do it in a mature way. You really put those words in there. I mean, yeah, take that pickle out of there and put in there what you really meant to say. Take that little peach out there and put in there what you really wanted to say when you told him you want him to bite the peach. Say what you want to say. And because his level is going to go up. And this is why, we have entered into this realm of everything is so playful. But man, I'm trying to tell you, and I'm not saying this because I'm the guru or nothing like that, because I come up short. There's a lot of women that's going to like me. There's a lot of them that's going to not even call me back. I'm that guy. We're all there. But if you're going to engage with this woman, you want her to be able to think about some of the stuff you said. It don't have to be all day long. It can be quick. It can be 5-10 minutes of deep conversation. And then once you come home and both of you at home, and little man over there in the coloring book, and little Moesha just got back from cheerleader practice, you all have already established something all day long, or for maybe 20 minutes of that day, and you're thinking about his words and he's thinking about your words, and you can't get those kids to bed fast enough. I don't know. I don't have that issue or that situation. I don't want to call kids an issue. Situation with dealing with, the younger kids at this point in my life. But there's ways you work around things. Don't fit me in between vacuuming and doing the laundry. Things like that, because you fall into that stale routine. And I'm here to tell you, those routines get stale for both parties. And that's not to say I'm putting nobody down or somebody put me down. It gets stale. So whenever you can steal those personal moments with each other, take advantage of it. This goes back to one of the posts I made the other day about, exploring your kinks and how comfortable you are to explore and discuss your fetishes with your spouse. Once again, it could be a fetish about anything. That fetish could be, you might be a foodie, you might just want to feed them. That's a fetish. And that's also a kink, because the fetish part of that is about the type of food that you're going to fix for him. The kink is the food that you're going to feed him. Goes both ways. So when you open the door and start discussing these things, like I said, there are several ways to do it. Coffee and conversation, pillow talk, and random conversation at the traffic light. It may last as long as the traffic light does. You don't have to make it an extremely long conversation. You could throw it out there and your spouse is going to receive it one way or another. And whether they say no, whether they say yes, still discuss the situation. Because whereas she may say no to something you mentioned to her that's involving a bathtub and Jello pudding, she may be open to trying something else that might not involve the bathtub. She may be thinking, I'm going to fall and break my neck. But see, you don't know what she's thinking before you so quick to back up off of it. So compromise in that as well. So, if we can sit here, and I say this because I've watched over the years a lot of my personal friends, how elevated they can get over watching a football game. If you can take that same energy and put it into her, not even got to be physical, but I'm just saying, you really think about that. You chased her when you got her, and lady, you chased him to get him. So, still chase a little bit, because nothing excites me more than the fact that I have to chase her. That's whether I was married or whatever. If something came up that really just got my blood boiling, I had to chase after it to reclaim or go get, or to just show her that I cared, that excited me, And I think society has allowed people to start thinking because a man is chasing you now, that's weak. That shows a sign of weakness. That is so far from the truth. But once we all got brainwashed and believing that, now look what's happening. All the men are here. And now I'm not saying what y'all think I'm saying, but all of them are out here with these purses and they're all dressing like their girlfriends and they're all dancing exactly alike because y'all didn't allow these young men to grow up to be grown men and still chase you. The women started to chase the man, and now the women are wearing the pants in a relationship, and she's the head of the household. Well, guess what? If you want to come be the head of the household, we can role play that. That's called role play to me. You can take charge. I ain't afraid. I ain't afraid of that. Try me. Because you never know what you might find out. But like I say, I always say, me and an old friend of mine used to always say, be careful what you ask for. And because, you gonna mess around and get it. And when you get it, trust me, it's gonna be deep. Had a situation where a buddy of mine, we like to call it talking each other off the bridge. Every time our spouses would just do something devious or undermine it, or, they would just go off and we didn't know where they were. We would call each other, whatever, and talk each other off that bridge, because where we used to have those jealousies, it became an exciting situation. So, he would call me and tell me some stuff, and I'm not going to get graphic about it, but tell me some stuff. Oh, man, you won't believe what she did, and this and that and the third. But it excited him so much to where he couldn't wait to get off work fast enough and race home to be right up under her. You know, it's been times I would go over and I'm sitting there visiting them, and she would, snap and put them into what's the word? A submissive role. And I watched him just flip the switch and become that really subservient to her, and because she enjoyed that, and he enjoyed that, and he and I had a long conversation about that. And he actually, there are people out here that are involved in a lot of different things. And I'm not saying y'all have to go out here and play these different roles, but somewhere there's a role, or there's a different, or an alternative, that those of you that have been in long-term relationships, or even those of you that just started out and the relationship is new, it's 3 months in, and one of you or both of you are already trying to figure out why we're not matching sexually. A lot of times the reason why we're not matching sexually, because we are trying to hold in so much. Ladies, stop thinking just because, okay, it's the third time y'all hooking up. Use that term, hook up. Third time y'all hook up. Stop thinking you have to hold back because you don't want him to think you some type of garden tool. If you feeling it, that moment strikes, give him what you got. You know what I'm saying? That's all you can do. Don't hold yourself back, because you're holding back. And now he's over here thinking, man, she must not be interested in me. So there is miscommunication verbally, sexually, and in intimacy. There's a whole lot of miscommunication. Excuse me, y'all. And I have experienced that. That's why I'm talking about it. And the reason why I'm talking about it, because a lot of people not even aware of this. I can talk about this now because I've gotten to a certain age to where I got some stories to tell, and they can get really, really deep. And that's without even naming people. But those of you that know me really know that if I talk about it, you know my truth. So stop name dropping. If you love that spouse, love that spouse. Don't be up here talking about that spouse behind his and her back just to win somebody else over. You know what I'm saying? And the way I see it, you're both in this together. And until you all can get on the same page on a lot of things, it's not going to go as well as you think. One of you, if not both of you, one of you should leave that bedroom fully satisfied. I'm just going to leave it right there. And within that bedroom, it can be anything from doing his feet to other things. But that should be satisfaction. And that's the bottom line. We all have a role to play in these things. And those of us that are out here single, that wants to stay single, that it's not so much that you playing the field. Okay, for me, perfect example. If I tell this lady that, no, I'm not looking to be involved right now because I really have a lot going on that's pertaining to work, and I am not lying, because I have taken on a lot of side projects that has really helped me out. The first thing they say, well, what's her name? Her name is Side. That's my sidekick, which is the job. It's not a her. So later, don't be so quick to put yourself into competition with somebody that don't even exist. Because I can be honest with you. If I tell you there's somebody else, somebody that's keeping me happy and satisfied, I'll be honest about it. I don't have anything to lie. Why I have to lie to you? You're new in the picture. So if I'm already over here and Lil Kim is coming over here satisfying me, that's really none of your business. You're fresh off the vegetable truck. We're trying to get to know each other. I'm not gonna sit and lie to you and say, no, it's been 2 years, it's been 5 years, and that's another thing. People always ask if you're single. Yes, I am single. Then they ask for how long. Would somebody please explain to me, why does that matter if I've been single for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years? If I say 3 months, what do you have to say to that? If I say 2 years, 3 months, it's too soon. 2 years, it's been too long. Why do you keep asking that question? asking me why am I still single, because I haven't found anybody that I want to spend my time with. I haven't found anybody that's gonna match my level. And my level being that I'm way too laid back for a lot of people, but I'm very, outgoing. I can talk some trash too. I can get on one real good. And so finding that person that wants to be that one, but don't try to make yourself that one in somebody's life when they tell you they're not seeking that one at that moment, because you're going to waste your time. Then you've been hanging around him for 6 months. Then you ask him, well, what are we doing? When is this going to change? And he said, what are you talking about? You totally forgot all about the fact that he said 6 months ago he wasn't trying to look for something serious. And that's why he hasn't taken you that serious during the last 6 months. Ladies, you can win a lot of men over physically, sexually, and all that stuff. But I think you had a better chance of doing that when they was younger than once he gets in his 50s and 60s. And that's not because he can't do whatever you say he could do. He can't do it like he used to. It ain't about that. We've become more focused on a lot of other things, because I'm gonna tell you, at 50, 60 years old, that normal ain't gonna cut it. So you have to be able to rise to each other occasion. And woman tell me, hey, I ain't enough. You ain't man enough. You can't handle this. Okay, I can't. I'm not gonna get upset about it. You just go handle your business. Go do what you gotta go do. And if it's that deep and if it's that good, I'm gonna start to question you. I want to find out what y'all doing. And now you want to clam up. You can't even be honest. Tell me what you're doing. I'll look at you with a straight face, and I'll be so interested in finding out what in the world y'all got going on that got you smiling cheek to cheek like that. I want to know. Tell me. The last time I said it once, I never had a man ask me something like that. I'm like, why not? You know how y'all? No, I don't know how we are. Tell me how we are. Because you was dealing with those jealous types. You was dealing with the ones that wasn't inquisitive. Those that wasn't that wouldn't be open to trying different things or other situations or what have you. Be very curious in what you do, because let's just say you're 50 years old. You have worked for the last 35 years. All you've done is worked. You're getting to that point now, your workload is slowing down. Some of you, have worked. You probably even paid off your home. You probably didn't have a car payment. You don't have any stressful situations. Now you're getting involved with your more wilder side. So now opens the door to be more explorative. But while you being in a point where you're trying to explore, men, you got to be able to open the door from both sides. You got to be able to communicate about it. You can't bring jealousy into the situation. So if you're new and you coming into this situation, she's coming into this situation, and y'all start having this table talk about sex, man, don't get jealous about she start telling you about some of that past stuff. Because if you can't handle that, don't even bring it up. Because who's to say she's a good girl or a bad girl? I hate saying the word girl, but who's to say she's a good girl or bad girl based on how dramatic her sex life has been? Where some of us, I'll be like, oh shit, tell me more. What, really? But a man will let his ego and pride get in the way. He thinks he's the best of everything, but and to a certain extent, we all are better at certain things. But come on, let's just be real. If she's going to sit down and have these conversations with you, and she's going to open the door to fetishes and kinks and fantasies, men, be ready to handle that. Or find you somebody that is not as adventurous as she is, because what's going to end up happening, that's going to probably increase the chances of her cheating on you, because you're not that adventurous guy. And people are going to cheat. They're going to cheat regardless, but it might lessen the opportunity, And how would you handle when she come and tell you she cheated? Well, let me tell you, a lot of them tried that and they came to me with it and they threw it in my face and they did all these things. But I did the same thing. I got inquisitive. I wanted to know, oh my God, really? I got a little bit turned on about it, hearing about it. They couldn't handle that. They looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with Warren? But you have to be, hey, you never know what's gonna come out. See, that's the thing. That's the beauty about dating somebody that has experienced a lot of things in their lives, and then you add a little splash of Leo in there, and you add a little splash of adventure in there, and you know, and when you tell these ladies when you meet them, yeah, we're gonna love each other. When you leave, if you decide to walk out, I'm not gonna lie and say it don't hurt. It's gonna hurt for a minute, but it don't bother me after so long. I'll miss you. Yeah, I might miss you. I might miss you for 6 months. I might miss you for 6 days. I might miss you for 6 minutes. But trust and believe, when you're gone, you're gone. That's different when you have a little spat and you go sleep on the couch or go sleep at mama house. That's totally different. But they have to understand that if you really think that grass is greener and you decide to go pack your bags and go on the other side of that fence, be prepared to stay over there. Because I'm gonna bring this back to one of my previous videos, maybe last month. I talked about a hall pass. How secure are you in your relationship to where you two can give each other a hall pass? If you are bored, it's 10 years in that you can't, y'all tried counseling, nothing seems to be working. You know, she's starting to really think about old dude at work. You know, and you thinking about the parking lot attendant every time you pull into the lot, and she's smiling at you, and you know she brought you a sausage biscuit one day. Now you all in love with the parking lot attendant. Both of y'all have two outside emotional situations going on. Sit down and talk about a hall pass. One of y'all might not get lucky that night when you go out with that other person, but I'm just saying, be prepared to discuss that. Actually discuss things like that early into your relationship. What happens when we get bored? Are we going to be able to actually sit down? Let's, and this is what I'm going to start doing, because I should have did this. I kind of did, but I didn't write it down. In the beginning of the relationships, write down year 1, year 5, year 10, if you make it there. The things that you're discussing in year 1, or you can do 1, 3, and 6. Cut it down. Year 1, the things you want to discuss. When you get to year 3, the things you want to discuss. When you get to year 6, the things you want to discuss. And you both agree that we can discuss these things in that time frame. And what that's going to do is now you get a chance to look back in the past 3 years and see how far you've come, you know, and how faithful have you both been, you know, physically, emotionally. You know, talk about those things, because we're all running, excuse me, we're all running around here just doing anything and everything and not expecting anything to come of it, but things change. So with that being said, think about your relationships. Think about how much you want to open that Pandora's box, as they say. How deep do you really want to dive into that box? How do you really truly want to know your spouse's darkest secrets? I ain't saying this to you so you can be sitting over there looking at her, looking cockeyed right now, trying to see what she's thinking. That's not why I'm saying this. I ain't trying to start no trouble. All I'm simply asking, because men, a lot of us, we can't take it. Oh my God, let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna tell y'all about that in another video. How deep do you really want to go into her Pandora's box? What do you really, truly want to know? Be prepared, because you have to think about something, man. Think about this: when you at the coffee shop or the pizza bar and you talking to your homeboys, and you telling them about, oh man, old girl back in the day, the one in college or whatever, man, she was a straight up, you know what, and she did this, and me and my homeboys and and everybody took a spin. Think about this: that same girl you talking about is somebody's wife now. So that poor soul over there that's got the one that was back in college that gave everybody a ride, does he really want to know what kind of rides she was giving out? And so turn that around. The one you have at home right now, fellas, she might be the one that was rolled hard and put away wet. So do you really, really want to find that out? I say, yes, you should. Because once you start talking about that, and once you start finding out that she still got that fire in there, and she said, well, baby, that was back in the day. Whenever somebody say that was then, this is now, that was back in the day, they're really telling you, I settled. That's what they're telling you. Why can't we bring some of that same energy into this marriage or into this union that we have with each other? It don't have to be exactly the same, but take some of it. You know, sitting here talking about some of my wild past days with some of my buddies and even some of my female friends. And I could talk about it, but that's not to say that it was over with. You know, I've had a couple of them circle back. And I'm sure a lot of us has. But ladies, like I said with the men, when you want to go into that deep, dark rabbit hole, do you really want to know just how much of a role he played into that lifestyle? And everybody calls it the lifestyle. You know, just say what it is. Was he into swinging? Was he into BDSM? Was he into role play? Or, you know, was he the conductor pulling the train? Well, you name it. Do you really want to know these things? Now that you're 40, 50, 60 years old, do you really want to know the person that's deep down? So men, you're walking with your wife or your spouse. You in the grocery store. Let's say you're both 50, 55 years old, loving each other. There's nothing come between y'all. Mind your own business. You pushing the cart. You go down aisle number 3, and she look over and see the little young guy putting the stock away, and she say, "Baby, you just don't know. If I was about 25 years younger, that's that fire still in her, right there." And what do? Well, baby, he got me by 25 years, but I guarantee you one thing, I'm gonna give you the best I can tonight. We're gonna talk about this tonight. So you take that same energy she already done put out there on the way home. So the stock boy, huh? Like, oh, you want him to deliver those groceries, don't you? Role play it. Talk to her about it. Don't get mad because she said it. Get involved. You know, something lit up inside of her, and now you're just gonna throw salt on it. Now you mad for 2 days because she made eye contact with the little young fella. You know, so if she's bold enough to say that in your presence, act on it in a positive way. Don't be afraid of each other's desires or thoughts. You know, we all have those. It's healthy to talk about it. And men the same way. You know, you don't have to break your neck and be disrespectful when you're with your spouse and you see some other attractive woman. You know, if you guys have gotten to this level of understanding that you can compliment each other as well as others, you know, you still be respectful about it. So some things you could kind of be thinking about. And the only reason why I brought this up again, because I had another phone call as I was finishing up working, and a lady friend of mine, she was talking about her husband and talking about her boyfriend. And boyfriend knows everything. Husband don't know nothing. That's a bad situation to be in, because sometimes we think we know and we really don't know. Or sometimes we don't care. We just let her play herself. She play herself right on out the picture. Now that's a move for a player right there. Allow her to play herself on out the picture. We're going to talk about that too at a later date. But, you know, be open-minded. Be willing. Don't just say you're open-minded and then you leave it right there. Say you're open-minded and give examples. You know, when you're having a conversation with somebody, you should always want to provide clarity in the conversation. Don't just say something. Now I got to ask you 15 questions about it. You know, provide that clarity in the conversation. Paint the picture. You know, and I find myself doing that a lot once I get on something, especially if it excites me while I'm talking about it. Oh, I'm gonna paint the whole wall red. You know, you're gonna get a full illustration of what I'm talking about. Learn to be very creative in your conversation. Learn to listen Learn to speak. I ain't saying nothing about speaking clearly, because however your voice comes out, it works for you. If you got this southern drawl like I got it, you got that. If you got the northern thing, you got that. It's not even about that. It's about how you deliver your conversation. So a couple of exercises that you can do is, when you get time, especially us men, check out a couple of podcasts on how to talk to your lady on certain subjects, how to open up to your spouse about your desires, your kinks, your fetishes, or how you feel about her. Explain to her how's a better way to explain to her that she's the only one for you. Start watching these things. And and both men and women, when you're watching these podcasts or you're watching some of these life coaches online, if they come in with a loud intro and then they have guests, and if you sit through 5-minute intro, it's nothing but loudness and laughter and immaturity, go to the next podcast. Don't waste your time on a bunch of silliness, because you're looking at it and you say, oh my God, this podcast is 1 hour and 45 minutes long. Guess what? It's probably at best 15 minutes worth of useful information packed in there. So if it starts out, a greeting, straight, direct, maybe some soft music in the background, but all this, you know what I'm talking about. That's not what you want to learn from. You're not going to take anything away from that. So think about some of the things that you want to start to watch, some things you want to start learning. Men, do not be afraid to start engaging in, if you got a best friend, a best buddy, engage in intimate conversations with your best friend in regards to if y'all are both having the same type of issues at home, and bounce ideas off each other. He may say, well, man, Kim likes such and such and such and such. So, oh man, Angela, she likes when I do this. Now, guess what? You guys have swapped ideas without even knowing it. 2 cavemen sitting there trying to light the same flame, just gave each other a bright idea. You didn't even know it happened. So you have to open up to your besties, or what they call it these days, your homeboys, or whatever you want to call it, because you'll learn a lot more then if you just take off the ego, put the ego on the shelf, and sit down and talk man to man. It's not going to hurt you. You're not going to, come on now. So, but anyway, I'm going to get off this little box this soapbox of mine, and I'm going to watch me some television. I have completed my task for the weekend with all this doggone work. Not complaining. I'm just saying, I'm glad I didn't have plans, because if I had a date, she would just had to sit and watch me work, or whistle while I work, or whatever she want to call it. But I'm glad I was given the opportunity to have a weekend to myself to get caught up. And I have a lot of replies I need to tend to in regards to some of my previous posts. And a lot of things people have asked me that I need to go do some research on that particular vehicle that I posted. So I'm going to do some research. Oh, yeah, of course. They can research it themselves, but when they ask the question, these are some of the questions that made me wonder, well, I don't know, can my vehicle do this? So I'm going to go check it out too. It helps to know these things. So for now, I'm going to get off this little hot box, and, if you're interested in finding out more about me, please subscribe, because hit the notification. I don't know if my notification is even working. I'm just saying what other people say. I'm not that great at this YouTube thing. So y'all, without sending me a link to a lengthy video or somebody telling me how the best way to do my YouTube, and all they doing is selling me their YouTube. If you got some straightforward ideas that'll hold my attention for maybe within a 5-minute video, because I have a short attention span. I can't go that long and listen to somebody just talking about a whole lot of nothing. When they're trying to sell me a video, or trying to sell me a book, or trying to sell me a link, and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I can talk all day. But am I going to talk about something that normal, everyday working people want to hear? Or am I going to talk about something that the high tech people want to talk about? We can talk tech, but I'm in a technical field. I don't want to talk about that all day. I mean, we can talk about gadgets. I have even posted some links to some gadgets and some things I found interesting, but it is what it is. I'm mixed with a little bit of nerd. I am. I mixed with a whole lot of stuff. But it'll come out in time. So until next time, you all have a great evening, and talk to you soon. Take care.